Welcome, Canada, and of course, the real MVPs of the audience, the lawyers paid to watch this show to try and destroy me. And you know what? Some of you are real great because you're doing it pro bono. You're attacking me and my family pro bono because you're just such great people. Today, we have a great episode for all of you. We are going to go into lockdowns. You get a lockdown, you get a lockdown, everyone gets locked down again because of science, so much science. We're told to stand by from the juggernaut to assess if we get another lockdown. Whoop-de-friggin-do. Okay, then story number 2. Dr.Tam, why does she still have a job? The Auditor General released a scathing report giving her Fs across the board, but she will never ever be fired. And this is the only show that will actually explain to you why she won't be fired and the real reason, not the social. I will explain it to you. I've already made videos about it, but we're going to go over it again. Then we're going to get into Erin O'Toole tweeting out for Trans Awareness Day. That's not the problem, but Erin O'Toole seems to be further to the left in terms of radical leftist rhetoric than Justin Trudeau at this point. That's the problem. I'm going to show you the problems with this whole thing and how Erin O'Toole needs to be removed ASAP. Then we're going to get into the ethnic cleansing of Jews by the Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen, something that my liberal family said would never happen, and Joe Biden wouldn't let happen, even though he wanted it to happen, said it was going to happen. I explained how it was going to happen, but they decided to do what they do best and stick their heads in the sand. Will I get an apology this Friday night saying, Daniel, you were right about everything you said and predicted 2 months ago? Spoiler alert, no. And then finally, another angry mob of outraged community, whatever. You know what? Someone showed a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad to try and teach children about freedom of speech and blasphemy, and now he's getting death threats because it's such a peaceful way to protest against pictures of Muhammad, who married a 6-year-old girl, is to try and kill everyone who tries to teach about your religion, because it's the religion of peace, which is why we must chop everyone's heads off who disagrees with it. All right. So, attach your head to your shoulders and let's get ready for lockdown number 3. Who needs a lockdown? You need a lockdown. Everyone gets lockdowns. So, the juggernaut. He has proposed that we stay tuned. We must stay tuned and be prepared for potentially lockdown number 3 in Ontario. Did the previous ones work? No. Will this one work? No. Are places that are not under lockdown surviving much better? Yes. Are we going to get another one? Probably. Okay, I have spent a lot of time in the last couple days trying to defeat this, and we're going to spend another day on it because it's important. And I don't want to be, there's a lot of people talking about COVID and all the COVID stuff, like we need to, I've let other people fill up this space, okay? But right now, we need to talk about this because tomorrow, Doug Ford might just decide, you know what, F the science, we're just going to be no civil liberties for anyone. No civil liberties ever again, because civil liberties are too dangerous. So we're on standby from Doug Ford. Doug Ford wants everyone to be on standby because he's going to have an announcement tomorrow. And there's really nothing good that can come out of this. What's he going to do? Maybe say, what's best case scenario? We're in gray zone lockdown, whatever. We might just, we're going to open up the Walmarts to 30% capacity instead of 25% capacity. There is no good news coming out of Doug Ford ever again. Doug Ford, he was kind of cool when he was running for office. He was better than Patrick Brown, but now he's a joke. I mean, he is an utter joke. This is, I remember the Patrick Brown days, and Patrick Brown was the first premier to advocate for the carbon tax as a conservative. Yeah, Patrick Brown's, all his team is with Erin O'Toole, and he's acting like Patrick Brown. Oh no, who could have warned us? I did, over a year ago. So, the Dougler, the juggernaut, Dougie Mick, remember when he was fighting and saying, the people protesting, the college students and the socialists outside Parliament, they were a bunch of losers. That was the height of Doug Ford. And then he tried to be conservative by pushing forward a budget that had more spending than the Kathleen Wynne Liberals. And it drove me insane. It drove me insane because I was ready to like Doug Ford. And this is prior to 2020. This is 2019 when he was out there because he got in a fight with the teachers union, right? Trying to claim that, oh no, I'm not cutting spending, I'm expanding spending. And we're like, what the hell did we elect you for? Ontario has no money. We don't have any money. No, we don't have money. We didn't have money before 2020. We have even less money now. We had negative money. Kathleen Wynne left office, sold off all her assets to try and cover her debts to claim that she was financially responsible and balance the budget in last year, and then she still couldn't do that and spend even more money. And then Doug gets in as Mr. Conservative and increased spending. And now the budget coming out in the 2021 Ontario budget is the most radically left-wing hyper-spending nonsense I've ever seen. We don't have money. We don't have it. There is no money. There is no money. All right, we're going to have to stand up because this chair is too low down this week. Changing that out. Okay, so we're at lockdown number 3, right? We need even more lockdowns. All right, now we must follow the science. You know who didn't follow the science? Texas. So can we bring up the chart of Texas and their Neanderthal thinking according to Joseph, where am I, Biden? Okay, so there is your chart. And this shows the cases, as you can see, in Neanderthal, Texas, which is orange, versus science, which is New York and New Jersey. So if you see the point, and it's marked in the graph of when they instituted their Neanderthal thinking, taking away the mask mandates and the lockdowns, oh my God, it goes down, downwards. So lockdowns made it go up, and non-lockdowns make it go down. Oh no, how could this be? Now, I will tell you how this could be. There is potential that all the health authorities were corrupt and lying to you from the beginning. Now, this was rather obvious, and Derek Sloan basically called out Dr.Tam on this, but it's quite obvious that China was lying to us. Very obvious that China was lying to us. Now, we've even learned, and 60 Minutes finally got around. I remember after 60 Minutes ran a propaganda show years ago when Trump first said this might have come from a lab. They brought in a Chinese advocate to say, no, it did not come from lab. China, investigate China. China, great. And then they brought a white guy who was in the pocket of the Chinese to say, yes, the Chinese are right. This is very dangerous from Donald Trump. And then the actual scientist came out and said, like, no, the lab leak hypothesis makes a lot of sense. There's a virology lab in Wuhan, and this is where this virus started. Seems like there could be a connection here. Who knows? I do. It did. Now, I've said this on previous videos, but we're going to say it again. If this virus was manufactured in a lab, it makes sense that it would not have the abilities to spread effectively outside, right? Because viruses that evolve naturally in nature would evolve outside, because that's where nature is, and have the ability to transmit outside. If a virus evolved, however, and was created in a lab, it makes sense that it would have a tougher time spreading outside because it was created in a lab, but it wouldn't have picked up the immunities to things like UV light, which is another data point that shows it was probably a Chinese virus from China that was manufactured in China by the Chinese Communist Party in China for the China virus to infect people with a virus made in China by the Chinese government that is from China, the Wuhan province of China, to make a virus that is Chinese of a Chinese virus from China. Do you understand? Okay. Remember, you can't call it the China virus, that's racist, but it has the UK variant, the South African variant, and the Brazilian variant. All of those are cool, but you cannot call the Chinese virus from China that was made in China by the Chinese Communist Party in the Wuhan province of China, the China virus, because that would be racist, and it would hurt the feelings of the people currently committing a genocide against the Uyghur population in the Xinjiang province of China, which is currently committing a genocide in China against Chinese people who manufactured the Chinese virus that came to the world and infected people because it's a Chinese virus from China made by Chinese government officials. Understand? Okay. That's probably going to be the thing that gets nuked off YouTube or whatever, but who cares? Click the subscribe button, like the video if you're already watching, help the algorithm, make a comment, you know all this stuff. Okay. So as we see, the Neanderthal thing, cases go down. It would make sense that Texas is experiencing less cases when they have people go outside, because if this virus is not adapted to the outdoors efficiently, right, and it's well adapted to indoor spreading, if you have people locked down and they stay inside and they stay in their little circles, people still need to go outside a couple times a week to go get their groceries or whatever. So if you have everyone in a lockdown, it means if someone carries a small viral load, what they're doing is they're being at home with the people they spend at home, they're pushing that viral load indoors, increasing the viral load there, and then having everyone else be indoors with that viral load, they're then more likely to get it and then pass it, and that's how the disease would spread. However, if you let everyone go about their normal lives, it looks like this actually might reduce the spread of the virus because it's not adapted to the outdoors. You don't have people congregating in the same spots, increasing the viral load in those areas, infecting other people. Now, we can never have this talk because, as you learned, the World Health Organization, their report on the original lag leak hypothesis, now 60 Minutes is actually going to report this. It turns out the initial report from the WHO, the Chinese did the report, They cleared themselves of any wrongdoing. Who would have thought the Chinese government cleared the Chinese government of any wrongdoing in spreading the Chinese China virus? From China, which was made in a lab in China, in the Wuhan province of China, that infected everyone with a Chinese-made virus called COVID-19, which is a virus from China made by the Communist Party of China in China. Now, by the way, China, a country that brings you the genocide of Muslims sponsored by China. Also, you may know us from the China virus, China genociding Muslims near you. Also, China sponsoring all the companies like Nike which do your social justice messaging. Remember, social justice messaging made with slave labor in China. Nike, buy our shoes, you can do anything. Colin Kaepernick, diversity, Chinese slaves. Muslim Chinese slaves. You know, the best type of slaves, according to the Chinese Communist Party, which started a virus in Wuhan, China, which is a place in China, which created a virus that came from China. I'm so getting nuked for this. Oh well, it was fun. Okay. Now, we're going to get another lockdown, which have shown to not work in Ontario. Turns out none of the lockdowns have worked, and there's a manipulation of statistics. Oh my God, hospital capacities are 20% higher than they were at the second lockdown. Yeah, we had like 1 ICU case per hospital in Ontario last time. Now 1.2 cases per hospital. Oh no, increase of 20%. Way to lie with statistics. This is why I probably should have let everyone do their own homework and data management. But I just found math so much fun that I was happy to help other people with their math. Turns out, bad idea, Daniel. Now everyone's terrified of numbers because they don't understand them. I promise I won't do your kids' high school math homework. I might explain it to them, but I'm not going to do it for them. You know, teach your kids statistics, because if not, they can be lied to by the media about a virus that was started in China by the Chinese Communist Party to infect the world with a virus from China that was made in China by the Chinese Communist Party of China. Now, I'm going to sidetrack here. We talk about like Stop Asian Hate Week, you know, and Stop Asian. Like if you see this video and you're like, I'm gonna go give it to like someone in Chinatown. Don't. You're a horrible person for thinking that. I think everyone understands that the Chinese Communist Party is not, that random, noodle shop at like, what was it, Dundas and Spadina. That's not the Chinese government. That's just a random person from China. Random people from China, cool. Communist Party of China made the China virus, not cool, right? We all understand this. But now the media is gaslighting us, pretending us that the spate of hate crimes against Asians is coming from the Trump supporters because he said China virus. However, as you're seeing, most of the hate crimes committed against Asians are from non-Trump supporting people, right? The majority of the number one ethnic group targeting Chinese people right now are black people. Now, are all black people racist? No. But if you look at all the stuff in New York, right, there's a reason why Linda Sarsour is not tweeting out the photos of the people assaulting Chinese women, right, because they don't match the narrative. So this whole gaslighting thing is just driving me crazy because China created a Chinese virus from China in China. And I've made the case for why it's the morally acceptable thing to do to call it the China virus and why we should be calling it the China virus. But again, Chinese propagandists in the West are undermining our abilities to essentially fight the virus because they're shills of the Communist Party of China. Speaking of shills of the Communist Party of China, Dr. Tam. All right, Dr. Tam, the Lord and Savior, the woman who is never wrong about anything, except the new Auditor General report says she was wrong about literally everything. Why does she still have a job? Is what we're going to ask. So there's two articles, in CTV now, and there's Don Martin. After devastating Auditor General's report, why does Tam still have a job? Now, maybe Don Martin isn't an idiot. Maybe Don Martin knows the answer to this question. He just knows he's not allowed to talk about it. So I'm gonna go over some of the things in the Auditor General report, just read from the article, and then I'll explain to you why Dr. Tam still has a job and why there will be no consequences, and it has to do with her links to the Communist Party of China. Okay, so here's some things from the Auditor General report. Prior to the pandemic, PHAC failed to heed recommendations to improve its information sharing, and while it had developed plans to guide a national health response to a pandemic, they were not regularly updated and never tested. It's literally FAC is the acronym here. So don't get mad if I say FAC, because that's the acronym we're going with. So FAC relied on risk assessment tool that was not designed to consider pandemic risk and resulted in continued state of risk to Canadians that was low, even as cases began to grow exponentially. The government public health intelligence network, Canada's so-called pandemic early warning system, did not issue an alert about the emerging novel coronavirus that would have informed decisions on the public health measures needed to control the spread. The Canada Border Service Agency quickly implemented restrictions at the border and quarantine measures. However, the agency didn't verify its officers were properly apply exemptions to travel restrictions for essential workers, and lacking pre-existing national plan for mandatory quarantine, FAC attempted to follow up with 60% of incoming travelers, but could only confirm compliance for 1/3 of them. Even when people were flagged for being at risk for breaking the rules, they weren't allowed. They weren't always followed up with. Okay. There was also outdated plans. There's a whole thing. Early warnings not sent. There's so much here. You could see all the different things the Auditor General found. But I'm actually going to explain to you what's going on here. And a lot of you know it implicitly, and it just sort of, I'm just going to connect some dots for you. Now, I did post on my Facebook page, and if you did watch the video beforehand, on how to buy a Canadian political party for less than $1 million. A lot of it is explained there, but I'm going to give a brief summary of that video, because if you watch that video, and I've been going on for this for a while, you kind of know what the next 2 minutes is going to be about. But this is how Canadian politics run. Because we try to take money out of politics, right, in a response to Bernie Sanders crying about, Citizens United and all that in the States, we limited donations from individuals to $1,500, and we put all these restrictions on who can donate to political parties with good intentions. The problem is there still will be money flowing into politics, and now it's dark money that takes primary, status in Canadian politics. So it's not the ability of someone to raise $10 million for the Conservative Party, the Liberal Party, that has real power. It's the power of someone to raise $200,000 to $300,000 quickly within the current rules and guidelines. The people who can do this are usually connected to extremist groups, and this is why. What you need to raise money quickly in the Canadian system is you need the ability, this is why the Muslim Brotherhood, the Khalistanis, and the CCP are so powerful in Canadian politics, because they're ideologically motivated, they have tons of money, and they have followers on the ground willing to implement their strategy. So, because you can only give $1,500, if you are a Muslim Brotherhood guy, a Khalistani guy, or the CCP guy, right? Muslim Brotherhood, you can get money from Qatar, Iran, some random Islamist somewhere. The Khalistanis can get it from the Pakistani embassy, and the CCP can get it from any sort of, Chinese embassy, government operative can funnel money in. There's different people who do this, right? So what happens is, right, this was the Conservative Party race, and this is why the Conservative Party is now corrupt beyond belief. They had set a rule to qualify to run for leader, you need to raise $300,000 within a month. Right? And if you do the math there, it's like you need to be getting maximum donations from people, like one every hour. You just need to be nonstop fundraising. But how did Peter MacKay and Aaron O'Toole get money like that? The answer is through extremist front groups. Okay, so this is how politics work now, right? Let's say you have an extremist. Let's say they're a CCP operative, right? What the CCP operative, the Communist Party operative, will do is they'll throw money into a system, right? There's $300,000. Then they'll distribute that to different locations and different people. They will then have their followers each take $1,500, $1,500, $1,500, whatever. They'll then take that money. A conservative, liberal, NDP politician comes around for a fundraiser. They say, "Hi, my name is whatever," and you could do anything. You could literally go into a Muslim Brotherhood mosque as a fundraiser, whip out your genitals, and helicopter around, and then they just throw the $1,500 in because the imam or the Khalistani, whatever, or whoever the communist operative said, just give your money to this person, right? We're buying this person. You buy Aaron O'Toole, boom, Aaron O'Toole's yours, and there, he has $300,000. So this is how money is raised in the system. So this is why it is nearly impossible to get rid of Muslim Brotherhood operatives, Khalistani operatives, or Communist Party operatives, because they are connected to the people who control the levers of power in our government, because that is how you fundraise to even qualify yourself. So in order to even qualify for leader, in most cases, the easiest way to become leader of a political party in Canada is you have to be in bed with either the Muslim Brotherhood, the Khalistanis, or the Communists. Preferably all of them is the easiest way to get to the top. All right, so this is why Dr. Tam will not be fired, because she has links to the Communist Party of China. She will sign letters to the WHO promising to keep information secret from Canadians at the outset of the pandemic. She will vote with the interests of the Chinese government, right? She will vote against Canadian interests, and this is why she will never leave. Because if you start to go against Dr. Theresa Tam, some of your donors, mega donors, read people who give the maximum, but can also control 50 other people to give the maximum. They'll withdraw support from you, and they'll give it to someone else who's willing to play this game, right? This is also the answer to why is Harjit Sajjan, the defense minister, why isn't he being fired when we have evidence that he knew about the sexual assault allegations in the Canadian military and then just gave the guy a raise after knowing about them? Why is he still around with feminism? He's still around because he has connections to the Khalistani extremist movement. If you get rid of Sajjan, who's now the top-ranking Khalistani after Navdeep Bains went bye-bye, by the way, Navdeep, I know why you retired. There's a lot of reasons that Navdeep would... I can think of 50 million reasons, but who knows? Anyway, so Harjit Sajjan is now the top-ranking Khalistani government. Maybe Soji, but Sajjan's smarter by all accounts than Soji. So with Gurwal out and Navdeep Bains out, you're not going to get rid of Sajjan, because if you get rid of Sajjan, right, the Khalistanis will find someone else to back, and then you don't get money to raise off of them, right? This is why they control our politics. So this is why Dr. Theresa Tam and Harjit Sajjan will not be taken out of their system, no matter how corrupt or incompetent they are, right? Unless you can actually physically catch them in a highly criminal act. And Navdeep. They're not going anywhere. So this explains it, okay? That should be... Why is Dr. Theresa Tam still around? This is why. This is why. That is the answer. It is because she is connected to the Communist Party of China. They control the money flow into the Conservative, Liberal, and NDP parties. That is why you cannot get rid of them, because if you are the leader of the party and you try and purge the extremists from your party, they will then financially back one of your opponents, and because of the current electoral system, the way we raise money in this country, no one has enough power to influence politics at the level that the Muslim Brotherhood, the Khalistanis, or the communists do. System's broken. There's a quick fix to this. What we need to do is stop looking at American politics and making decisions based on what the Americans say. What you need to do is you need to say, Canadian citizens can give any amount of money to political parties. There's no limit on what a Canadian citizen can donate. No corporate donations, no foreign donations. All donations over $1,000 are made public. There. It would solve this problem immediately. It's actually a quick fix there. Okay. Well, let's go back up and review all of Dr. Theresa Tam and Patty Hajdu's failures in a cascade of ineptitude that is the Liberal Party. So if you remember at the start of the pandemic, the World Health Organization put out the infamous tweet that there was no evidence that the novel coronavirus was spreading from person to person. That was January 14th. They knew there was evidence, but they were lying on behalf of China, which started a Chinese coronavirus in China, in the Wuhan province of China, to spread a virus from the Chinese government in China. Now, at the beginning, our government was saying it was so extremely low risk, there is no risk. And I said, no, it's not low risk. This is clearly a respiratory-borne virus, which means it can cross borders. And if you're not locking down and quarantining flights from Wuhan, China, there is extreme risk. I was right. There was a higher risk of infection and spread than zero or negative. But the reason why they pushed this is because that was the line at the time from the Communist Party of China. What they wanted is they wanted the disease to spread across the world to hamper the world economy, because at the time, Donald Trump had them over the back, was about to get sanctions on them, and force them to accept that international patent law is actually a thing, because again, this is how the Chinese economy runs in large part. China is so green and clean. They have the most green technology in the world, said your idiot friend. The reason they have the most green technology in the world is because what they do is they steal patents from everyone else. If a German company, a French company, a Canadian company, an American company makes a patent on any device, what the Communist Chinese Party does is they steal that patent, copy it, reproduce that at a lower quality and lower price, so it's less effective, and then takes the actual green energy or economically, environmentally friendly, I mean, it's all stupid, but they then take those companies, put them out of business, and then the Chinese have their patents. Like, this is the hostile patent theft that allows China to sort of be an economic superpower. Trump almost had them over the barrel, about to accept international patent law, and then boom, they managed to destroy the American economy, get their puppet and Joe Biden in, and looks like the communists won. So good job, Communist Party of China and your Chinese virus. You win that one. Okay. So we had the, oh, there's no effect here. Then we had the, it's racist to stop travel. It was like, should we lock down and shut the borders? Nah. I mean, Italy, Iran, and China are pretty hard hit. Should we stop flights from them? Nah. Then we have another thing. I've told the story before, but my dad had a friend who, at the start of the pandemic, let's say like around a year ago, came back into Canada from a flight, reported feeling sick and having symptoms to a person there, came in like wearing a mask, being like, I'm feeling sick and feverish, where do I report? And they just waved him on through. So at no point did they take this seriously until a bunch of politicians got caught going on vacation abroad, and then they turned into these basically draconian quarantine hotels where you're not allowed to lock your door, so women are getting sexually assaulted. Right? Then Patty Hyju was like, I'm not drinking during February, I'm doing dry February. And you're like, Patty, what are you doing? Just getting into like having massive people like come together for pictures. Oh, so stupid. Hey, remember when Jane Philpott was the health minister and Jane Philpott was an actual doctor with some moral integrity who stood up to corruption and lies? Yeah, good thing she's not in the Canadian government right now. Can you imagine how much worse off we'd be in this country if we had a doctor in charge of the pandemic response instead of a graphic designer? Oh my God, that would be horrifying. Good thing Jane Philpott was kicked out of government. So we have Patty Hyju here to help us. All right? So at literally every level, they failed. They lied to us. When the risk was moderate, they said it was low. When the risk then was realized to be moderate, they said it was extreme. They took away our rights. They took away our freedoms. They scared everyone into submission. They imposed, draconian lockdowns. And never once did they make a plan to actually get out of this pandemic. You now see a story, and it's coming out now, that they've authorized, we're going to start building a vaccine manufacturing plant in Toronto. We're going to start today. Where was this 8 months ago? This was the most obvious thing if you wanted vaccines. If you needed vaccines, you needed domestic manufacturing capabilities. We, as a G7 nation, didn't create domestic manufacturing capabilities. I mean, this is a problem, down the road. The fact that most pharmaceutical manufacturing is done in China, the fact that we can't really take actions against China because they can just shut down our entire medical system, we need some domestic manufacturing capability of medical supplies. That is a national security risk. But that's a conversation probably for today. Right? So we had no domestic manufacturing capabilities. All our PPE and whatever is coming from China, right? We gave them $45 million for a vaccine. They're just like, nah, we're not going to give it to you because you have Meng Wanzhou held captive. And Justin Trudeau was like, okay, I love China. Here's $1 billion. Let's do some foreign aid to the Chinese government. They need our money. It's so stupid. So you had this. You had them just not taking the pandemic seriously. You had them never increasing domestic manufacturing capabilities. I know of people who were trying to manufacture vaccines in Canada. They got no help from the Canadian government. The government we have the largest vaccine portfolio in the world. Yeah, sure. At no point were there ever field hospitals made for COVID, right? Never did they try and build some sort of special COVID wards where they could say, you know what? Because if you keep everyone locked down for over a year, when you lock down the hospitals and reduce their abilities of the medical system, people are going to die because you don't have the medical system running at full capacity. And the way you offset that is you take the time to, when you flatten the curve, what you do is you increase the amount of respiratory technicians, and then you build some COVID field hospitals so you can then reopen the hospitals and keep them running. None of that was done. At no point was there ever a response done to counter the coronavirus. At no point. No point did the Canadian government take any legitimate action against the coronavirus. And at no point. They just lockdowns. Lockdown. That became the only thing. 2 masks, 3 masks, 4 masks, lockdown. Never go outside. Don't see your grandmother. Don't see your grandfather. Don't see your kids. Don't touch your kids. No schools. No this, no that, no that. Just all they did was start taking away civil liberties, increasing government power, and called that their lockdown response. At no point, not for 1 second, not 1 second over the last year, did the Trudeau government ever think of an effective way to counter the coronavirus in any scientifically tangible way. Never, not once. And the Auditor General is going to report that. It's going to go public. And then all the mainstream media outlets are going to be like, oh my God, how did this happen? Because you had your heads up your own asses the entire time. That's the answer. It was only on alternative media where people were talking about this. I mean, I like to pat myself on the back. I mean, I'm going to be self-aggrandizing for a moment about 29 years ago and now. But I was right about this whole thing. I was right. Yeah, there was some risk at the beginning. It wasn't no risk. We should have shut the borders. The response was completely disproportionate. This is ascientific. The lockdowns don't work. Let everyone go back outside. Let them go. Let my people go outside. Hashtag Passover. Why are they still not? Because she's a communist operative. An extremist in our system will never be kicked out because that's where the money is. In order to run for office, any high office in Canada, you need to be connected to an anti-Canadian extremist faction. You don't need to be, but it highly behooves you. It is the easiest way to become a political leader in Canada is to be in bed with extremists. That's because we need to get money out of politics. Congratulations, idiots. You got dark money into politics. Dum-dums. Okay. Speaking of leaders with connections to extremist factions, Aaron the Tool O'Fool, my boyfriend. So Aaron O'Toole is tweeting out for Trans Awareness Day. He's on the warpath. He's here to help out the transgenders. And you know what? As I said, so let's show the Aaron O'Toole tweet. This is what Aaron O'Toole tweeted on today is a Trans Day of Visibility. This is one of two trans days. There's a Trans Day remembrance. Remember all the trans people that were, transphobia against. And today is Trans Day of Visibility. So tech team, bring up the Aaron O'Toole tweet. All right. So here's Aaron O'Toole saying, today we recommit to making Canada an equitable place for all people to live. I stand with the trans community in Canada and around the world fighting for equal treatment. Hashtag Trans Day of Visibility. And I said this, okay? And I believe this. The problem is not that O'Toole is tweeting about Trans Day. The problem is that he adopted the language of the radical left. He knows that equitable equals equality of outcome, not opportunity. He either doesn't understand the culture war or he's actively fighting against conservatism. This is my problem with O'Toole here, okay? So I don't want to get into the whole, trans debate and yes, adults have the right and kids do this, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to do this on Trans Day of Visibility. Like, okay, we can, give them a day to fight transphobia. I'm fine with that, okay? The problem here is Aaron O'Toole is adopting the language of the radical left. He is talking about equity and not equality. This is the great battle of our time. This is the battle against critical race theory and all that. It is the battle of equality versus equity. Aaron O'Toole should never, ever say the phrase equity or equitable in a positive light. Aaron O'Toole should be fighting tooth and nail. Now, Aaron O'Toole's statement is fine if he just said a more equal world. Then I have no problems with it. If Aaron O'Toole just said we need a more equal world, yes, I believe in full equality, right? Now, can we show an example of someone who can do this? So bring up the next tweet, the Justin Trudeau tweet about this. So here's the Justin Trudeau tweet. Okay. You should feel safe to be completely and accountability and authentically yourself. No matter who you are, the trans community know that we see you, we stand by you. Together, let's keep pushing equality forward and making our country stronger. Now, this is, classic Trudeau leftist babble, fine. But even Justin Trudeau can make a statement that I don't really care about. Because even Justin Trudeau can say, let's push for a more equal world. You expect this to be the inverse. Aaron O'Toole should be talking about making a more equal world. We all want a world with equal opportunity. I don't want to see a world where a trans adult is denied, the right to go into a store because they're trans, or they can't get, a loan on an apartment because someone says, I don't loan to the trannies. That's not an equal world. We want everyone to have equality of opportunity. However, equity is equality of outcome, i.e. communism. So why is Aaron O'Toole pushing literal communist propaganda? And you can't tell me that Aaron O'Toole doesn't know. Okay, and I said, maybe Aaron O'Toole just doesn't understand the culture war. Doesn't understand any of this, doesn't understand critical race theory, doesn't understand the push, was completely asleep during the entire Cold War. Maybe. Maybe Aaron O'Toole is one of the dumbest people to ever exist. Maybe that's right. And this is just supremely ignorant on his part. In that case, he's not qualified to be the leader of the Conservative Party. On the other hand, the far more likely thing is he's controlled by radicals and is pushing the party to the radical left. Do we know any political commentator that would have raised the awareness of that in February of 2020? I do. I think I know someone who tried to blow the whistle on Aaron O'Toole on February 5th of 2020. It was me. I did that. I did it. It was me. So this is the problem with Aaron O'Toole, okay? Can you just not be a radical leftist for 2 minutes? Just 2 minutes. All right. Now, there's a problem with the way the media is covering this, and this is where I have the empathy for trans people, because here's the stupidity of the media coverage of this. We can't just say, let's push for equality and everyone be equal. We need to have insane trans rhetoric. So here's CNN, the most trusted name in news. Here's an actual line from CNN's article. Okay. Here you have CNN claiming an absolutely beautiful claim here. I mean, who could possibly know this? Here's an actual line from an article in CNN today. It is not possible to know a person's gender identity at birth. There are no consensus criteria for assigning sex at birth. What? Excuse me? Say what? It is not possible to know a person's gender identity at birth. They have a penis, they're a boy. They have a vagina, they're a girl. What if they have both? They're intersex. That's a real thing. Happens in like 1 in 100,000 people. It's impossible to know what you were assigned at birth. You're not assigned at birth. XY chromosome, man. XX chromosome, woman. Wuxman, X's. Nixon, X-man. So dumb. So dumb. Stop gaslighting us. This is so dumb. All right. Now let's bring on the other side of the media spectrum. This is the post-millennial with just some like anti-trans bait, some dumb bait. So bring up the TPM article. This is basically the post-millennial writes an article. The post-millennial doesn't write article. They're just glorified Twitter threads. O'Toole tweets message in support of trans community for hashtag Trans Day of Visibility. They put the tweet. How is this article worthy, TPM? What this is designed to do is just create some anti-trans bait in the media and delegitimizes any actual arguments. So if I want to make here and say there's legitimate arguments that, you know, the Bill C-16 and compelled speech, there's legitimate arguments about blocking puberty blockers in children, there's legitimate arguments to be made here where we want the adults to be made, you know, treated equally, but, you know, medical experiments in children is wrong and compelled speech is also wrong, right? These are the points we want to make, but here we have a conservative, you know, this is Aaron O'Toole level conservative, media outlet, just basically doing some trans bait. This is trans rage bait, and I totally understand the trans community would be like, what the hell are you writing an article about this for? This is just designed to sort of prime people in the comments to be like, grr, transgenders. Nothing productive comes out of this. This is not article worthy that Aaron O'Toole made a tweet, right? And I read through, I stopped clicking on TPM articles long ago because there's just so many pop-up ads, it really slows down my computer. But if I'm going to talk about it, I have to, and it was like 4 lines, like every TPM article. There's a reason I don't write there anymore. I have to start my own thing. This is this is the absolute trash, you know, stuff that you could see the LGBT community getting angry over and saying like, you know, this is like, I get it. I get why they're mad at this. Right? And I get why, on the other side, when CNN says it's impossible to tell the gender of a child at birth. Impossible! There's no criteria for determining the sex of a baby. Both make you want to slam your head against the wall. And this is why TNT is so important, the National Telegraph. Coming out soon, there will be a great article on this whole, TPM lied to you about the dad in Vancouver. I said I was going to cover that. I just wanted to do more research. And looking into it, he was not arrested for calling his daughter his son, who identifies as a girl, she, or daughter, again, he was not arrested for misgendering his child. He was sent to prison because he was in contempt of court, okay? And yes, misgendering is part of the case, but there will be an article in the National Telegraph soon, coming out hopefully next week, explaining all the actual details in that case, what was happening, and what he was actually put in jail for, and what the actual facts of the case are, because truth matters. Okay, and I believe in a news outlet that values the truth. So like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, but then also go like the National Telegraph, please. Please? Please? Okay. Moving on to the next story. All right. So, in the I told you so liberal family, you didn't listen, and your claims that you care about the Jewish community more than I do because I supported Trump are totally BS, and you deserve me an apology. This happens every once in a while. So, there is new news coming out of Yemen. The Yemeni new government, the Houthis, have decided to expel the remaining Jews from Yemen. The remaining Jews from Yemen are being kicked out. Now, fun fact, not a lot of people know it. Jews don't have a great history in Yemen. Adolf Hitler, famous for making Jews wear a yellow star. That actually comes from the Yemeni Jews. Yemen in the 18th century made their Jews wear a yellow star as well. In a lot of Islamic countries, Jews had to wear yellow and Christians had to wear blue. So that's where Hitler got the idea for yellow Jewish stars from Yemen. And his friend, Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Haj Amin al-Husseini, noted for wanting to build death camps in Israel to murder Jews. But no, the Palestinians are all about peace and love. Okay. So, why is this happening? The answer is Joseph, where am I, Biden? Joe Biden is totally enabling genocidal anti-Semitism. And this is why I laugh at you, aunts and uncles, who tried to throw in my face, how could any Jew ever vote for Trump? And I said, because they might possess a modicum of self-preservation. And the reason why, Jews are being kicked out of Yemen is directly because of Joseph Biden's policies. Direct result of Joe Biden. Okay? What Joe Biden did is he took the Houthis off the terrorist watch list. They're terrorists. They teach about Adolf Hitler in schools, not the Holocaust is bad. They teach the Holocaust is good and we must, mirror the Holocaust in our schools. They actually do the Nazi salutes and say, this is how we kill Jews, right? They plant fake explosive devices and weapons, fake missile facilities in villages so the Saudis target it. They murder people. They're straight up terrorists. They're backed by the Iranian government. And Joseph Biden, because he wants to re-enter the Iran deal, he doesn't understand foreign policy because he's an Obama holdover, right? They're bowing to Iran, and Iran's laughing at them, laughing at you. Because the Iran deal, the JCPOA, is the greatest thing ever for Iran. You don't need to offer Iran anything to go back in the deal. Iran is playing you like a goddamn fiddle, you absolute morons. But Iran knows that if it plays hard to get, it can force the leftist media and the Kyle Kalinskis of the world to say, oh my God, we need to do this to get back into the Iran deal. But because Joe Biden has given the stand-down order to the U.S. allies to take counteractions against the Iranians, because he took the Houthis off the terrorist watch list, right? Because there now is no way to force repercussions on them, this is why they feel comfortable instituting an ethnic cleansing of Jews. And excuse me, if not now, people, and Jewish Voice for Peace, and all you other capos, where's the outrage on the ethnic cleansing now? Where is it? Where is it? I'm going to go to, let's go to If Not Now's Twitter account. Let's type it in right now. If Not Now. Where are they? Okay. Because as I'm told, if not now, we're about, fighting for people's rights all over the world. Yeah. Okay. Medical apartheid lie. Special envoy to combat anti-Semitism, something. Okay. We're simping for Angela Davis, anti-Semitic terrorist. Okay. Anti-Israel lie. Okay, pushing an anti-Semitic definition of anti-Semitism. Okay. Okay, taking a shot at conservative Jews. Okay, again, attacking Israel for giving vaccines to the Palestinians, even though they totally ignored the Oslo Accord. Okay, more anti-Semitic lies. More Angela Davis propaganda. Retweeting Ilhan Omar. Okay. Okay. Ooh, attacking a friend of mine. Nice. Yeah, so nothing about this. Turns out, if not now, totally, fighting, not a word about the Jews being kicked out of Yemen. Not a word. You wonder why the Jews had to create our own state and say, we're going to fight for self-determination, and if you try and murder us, we're going to stop you? Oh my God, that's genocide by not letting the Palestinians and Arabs commit a genocide against you. Anti-Semitic propaganda, promoting anti-Israel Jews, Rashad Tlaib propaganda. Okay, misunderstanding of international law, anti-Semitic propaganda. You get the point. So, all you people who stress the morality of Joe Biden, oh my God, we've returned to morality. And my idiot uncles and aunts who condemned me as enabling anti-Semitism because I made the case for Donald Trump. Do you know that there's a list of 70 Jewish intellectuals who signed a letter against Trump? You know that 30% of those 70%? I know these Jewish intellectuals. Guarantee you 30% of them, they're the ones who come to me, say, I have to sign this letter against Trump, and I really wish I could say what you're saying, Daniel, but if I say what you're saying in public, I'd lose my job, and everyone come after me. Like, I really want to say what you're saying, but I can't. And then these cowards sign letters as they're intimidated by the anti-hate network crowd and the If Not Now people. And I feigned sympathy for a while, but the next time one of you come out to me, I will out you. I will out you publicly. Stop it with the cowardice, you utter pathetic cowards. The Jewish intelligentsia. Never seen a greater collection of idiots than those people. Oh my, I'm going to get nuked for... Am I going to get nuked for anti-Semitism, for standing up against ethnic cleansing of Jews? Or am I going to get nuked for anti-Asian racism because I went against the Chinese Communist Party? Who knows at this point? Who knows? Wow. Great times. All right. Let's finish this one off. We got a story coming out of the UK. A UK teacher is being harassed. And thankfully, we're not talking his names. But we got another incident where at Blatley Grammar School. So let's read some terrorist propaganda. There's an Al-Qaeda affiliated website called the BBC. Yeah, the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. I think it's owned by the Osama bin Laden or something. Who knows? It's some sort of caliphate broadcasting corporation here. A teacher showed pupils inappropriate cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad, sparking protests outside the school, has been suspended. One, just Muhammad, alleged prophet. The image of the founder of Islam was used by a lesson at Blatley Grammar School on Monday. Yes, to teach kids about freedom of speech and blasphemy and how you can draw cartoons and you shouldn't be met with a murderous mob. However, he showed the cartoons, met with a murderous mob and the cowardly head teacher who capitulated to the mob. The government said it was never acceptable to intimidate teachers. Except they're totally accepting it. Never acceptable, yet they're letting it happen. Arrest everyone outside there intimidating the teacher because you need to stand up to these people with actual force. Because if you don't disperse this mob of angry Islamists, this teacher's life could be decapitated like Samuel Paty. Head teacher, an utter feckless coward, useless, worthless piece of human garbage, Gary Kibble, that's actually in the article, not my embellishment, apologized unequivocally. Adding a member of his staff had given their most sincere apologies and has been suspended pending an investigation. I really hope Gary Kibble, toss him to the mob. Freaking cowards, I hate this. George Bridges at Evergreen times a million. Gary Kibble, you're a scum. You don't deserve your job. Gary Kibble should be fired. Unequivocally. I unequivocally apologize for standing for British values. Ugh. We've immediately withdrawn teaching from this part of this course, and we are reviewing how to go forward with the support of communities represented in our school, i.e. we're going to consult the Muslim Brotherhood on how to run our school. It's important for children to learn about faiths and beliefs, but this must be done in a sensitive way. Okay, let's be sensitive. Guys, Muhammad, prophet of Islam, be sensitive now. Don't show pictures of him. He married a 6-year-old girl and then raped her when she was 9 years old. Be sensitive, okay? Married a 6-year-old girl, raped her when she was 9. Okay, sensitively. Don't show pictures. Don't show pictures. That's bad. But also he raped a 9-year-old girl. Okay. This, not even going to try and monetize this episode. Oof. Okay. Department of Education spokesperson said it's never acceptable to threaten or intimidate a teacher. Yeah, it is. It's totally acceptable right now. You're letting it happen. You're absolutely letting it happen. If these people were outside protesting for freedom, the police would be cracking skulls right now. But because they're protesting against freedom, let it go. You have to take these people off the street. This is how Islamists work. You have to stop them by showing them the upper hand. If you enable this behavior, this teacher's life is in danger, and they're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until whatever Muslim Brotherhood front group is in charge of your education system, and then your country is lost. So let's just, okay, so let's read some notes from, this is now from the Daily Mail. So here's a pro-Western civilization paper. Cartoons of Prophet Muhammad had been on school's curriculum for 2 years. Parents claimed their children were shown same images that sparked fierce backlash, RE teacher. Some points, Blatley Grammar School closed to all students last minute amid ongoing rover teachers' lessons. So again, they're admitting. They're terrified of the potential of a peaceful mob of the religion of peace killing people. Because it happened this year in France. Someone was decapitated for this reason. It has to be stopped. Amateur rugby player in his late 20s had trained to teach in the mid-2010s and hailed his fantastic job. One parent told Mail Online her daughter was shown the same images during a religious education lesson 2 years ago. Another told Mail Online that their daughter had told them how the cartoons were shown to a Year 9 class. Teacher had also been suspended from his job and is getting police advice after the incident this week. Education Secretary Gavin Williamson has now condemned the death threats made against the teacher. Death threats for showing a cartoon to teach kids about blasphemy. This is the problem. The problem is people aren't safe in the Western world to talk about this issue. That there'll be mobs claiming to be offended and hurt, and they'll claim that the entire Muslim community has been offended. The entire one. They've spoken to every Muslim. They're all offended. You know what? If you get offended by cartoons in our civilization, move. Move to a country that's illegal. Move to Pakistan. Move to Iran. Move to Saudi Arabia. Move. If you cannot stand a society where pictures of Muhammad are allowed, move. Get out of here if you cannot stand it. If you don't like it, but you can understand how to get taught in a blasphemy class and you want to talk about it, but you understand everyone has the right to be whatever, then fine. But if I have to listen to your, it offends our sensibilities. I can show you clips from inside the mosque where they pray for the death of Hindus or the humiliation of Hindus and polytheists. Does that not offend religious sensibilities? Right? You could argue that parts of the Quran are anti-other religions. You could argue that parts of the Bible are anti-other religions. You can argue that any religious text might offend other religions because most religious texts say that their religion is true and other religions are not true. This is part of being a free society. People need to have the right to say different things and have the freedom to say things. People are going to believe different things than you. People are not, right? I get it. There's no pictures of people allowed inside synagogues, right? You're not allowed to even put drawings of Moses in a synagogue. You can do this in a Catholic church, right? Can't do it in a synagogue, can't do it in a mosque. But we don't threaten to kill people if they show a picture of Moses. Or if someone to bring a picture of Moses into a synagogue, his life would not be in danger. This is pure intimidation, right? None of these people protesting right now care 1% about any of them. There's not 1% of care about religious sensibilities. It's about Islamic dominance. That's what they care about. Because if they cared about the sensibilities of other religions, then they would be furious that parts of the Quran demonize polytheism. So if you want to ban cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, you have to ban the Quran too. That's the thing. Because the Quran talks about negative things about polytheistic religions, and that's not fair. So if we're going to ban cartoons of Muhammad, we have to ban the Quran. Same principle. Now I say ban neither. I say Muslims should have religious freedom to practice their religion however they want, peacefully. But if we say that the Prophet Muhammad cartoons are offensive, well then the Quran's offensive to Hindus. It also offends me the part where they talk about murdering Jews. I want the Quran banned. If Prophet Muhammad cartoons are banned, I want the Quran banned. Ban them both. Ban them both for the exact same reason. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The real villain in this is what's Gary Brittle, or what's his face, the head teacher who unequivocally apologized. He's the real villain. He is the real villain here. He needs to be taken out. He needs to be taken, not like violent, he cannot be anywhere near a school. There has to be consequences to utter cowardice, right? Because if there's only consequences if there's no consequences, if the safe thing to do is to give in to the mob of angry Islamists, and there's no consequences from Western civilization to say, if you're not willing to stand for our values, then you don't deserve a job in our institutions. If there's no choice there, if he has to say, you know what, if I want to maintain my job, I have to stand up for Western values, can't have it. So he needs to be fired. We need to, fire, what is it, Gary Brittle? What's his face? What's his face? I just want to get it right. Gary Kibble. Gary Brittle the Kibble. He's a very brittle person. Gary Kibble needs to be fired. Needs to be sacked. Not decapitated. Sacked. Fired. Taken out of, because he is not fit. Cowardice in the line of duty. Dishonorable discharge from society. Feckless coward. Deserve nothing but contempt. I hate every second of this. Every second of this. Can't even teach kids and give it into the mob. Oh, we can't be outside. Everyone's going to die of coronavirus. Oh, unless you're protesting to try and murder a teacher for showing a cartoon. Ugh. Drives me crazy. All right. That's it for this week's episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, click the bell, follow me around. I'll be walking around the city of Toronto, so just follow me there. Hide in a bush, catcall me, make disparaging comments about my appearance, the usual. And I will see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m., same bat time, same bat place.